So if you can hear me, that means like my audio is working. So that's good. If you can't hear me, then you won't be seeing this video because it will be deleted in the trash. So I just wanted to make an update video because I haven't posted a video in a long time. And I haven't been doing that much except trying to recover from COVID, which is pretty taxing on every part of my body. I kind of feel like this is kind of like old YouTube right now, where just like doing video diaries and filming on the laptop and then just like uploading and not editing the video. So let me just get to the point. Right now I'm doing an internship at a really great production company and I'm learning a lot. And I'm hopefully going to be finishing my schooling next year and hopefully graduate and maybe get a full-time job in film. That's what I'm working towards. I'm also working on developing a few scripts that will hopefully be produced in the near future. I'm also still working on promoting my book. It's called Earthly Thoughts, and it's a poetry book that I wrote about my experience dealing with a concussion, and you can get it on Amazon if you just search Earthly Thoughts. And yeah, so I've been on a few podcasts, and they're all going to be coming out soon. I'm actually filming I'm actually recording someone else's podcast with them in the coming week, and I have so many things that I want to do, but I'm still recovering from COVID and I still feel sick almost every day. I guess I should just talk about it since this is kind of just like a video diary, so we're going to be honest. So I got COVID in March, the end of March of this year. My whole family got it because my dad's job was not strict and he got it from his job, spread it to all of us. Yep. It's very frustrating because we were isolating the whole time, but because of his job, we got sick and we're still dealing with the consequences. So it's very frustrating. My mom and me are having some long-term symptoms like dizziness and like terrible brain fog. So terrible. It's so hard to think of what I'm trying to say because my brain fog is terrible. Dizziness is terrible. My dad was in the hospital for a week. My brother, he also had COVID, but we all had like different symptoms even though we all had COVID and tested positive. We're way past our quarantine period by now. Like we had it the end of March, but my mom and I are still not feeling good at all. We're still doing stuff. You can't just like stay still because it will be even worse if you just stay still, because then you just deteriorate even more. It's about trying to force yourself to do stuff, but then also knowing your limits, which is eerily close to when I was recovering from my concussion. So it's been really hard, which I don't know if I really want to put this up. It's so hot in here, by the way, because I had to turn off the AC for this. So if I'm like turning red, nothing's wrong. I didn't get like instant sunburn. I'm just like really hot because it's like 90 and humid and I'm in a box with no AC. So I better just like get to my point and get over it. But I got the vaccine as soon as I could get it. I was looking for appointments, but there was like no appointment earlier to get it sooner than I did. So I ended up having to get the vaccine after I had COVID. I had to wait. I wish I got the vaccine before, which was something that I'm really upset about, how my state dealt with that, because they allowed people who were overweight and smokers to get the vaccine before people who have asthma and who have immune compromised systems, which is really frustrating because at least they should have been able to get it at the same time, and people with asthma and immune issues should not have had to wait until after smokers. It should have at the very least been at the same time, because if I was able to get the vaccine at the same time as smokers, I wouldn't have gotten COVID as bad. At all. I wouldn't have gotten it as bad, most likely, because I have bad asthma and I got the COVID vaccine as soon as I was able to, as soon as my tier was allowed, and that was too late for me. I got COVID like the week before I was supposed to get the vaccine. But if people who had asthma were allowed to get it sooner, which should have been the case because COVID severely impacts your breathing, then I wouldn't have gotten COVID that bad. So I completely disagree with how my state dealt with that. And a lot of states were, I I don't want to get into that, but like they were kind of like over their head. They honestly, who was making these decisions, because I don't even know. The people who were making the decisions were the first ones to get the vaccine, so I guess it didn't really apply to them. So I don't know if they fully understand the consequences of delaying people with asthma from getting the COVID vaccine, because they're really severe. Because I don't know how long I'm going to be dealing with these long-term symptoms of getting completely winded just walking up the stairs. Like, exercising to be healthy is like a complete, like, thrown out the window. There's no way I could go on a run. There's no way I could walk that far to do anything. I can't just exercise just to exercise. Walking around the house to me is exercise. So I'm just gonna stop, because this kind of got like sad, and I don't want this to be sad. I just want to like accurately portray what having COVID is like. And I am 22 and I had asthma, but other than that I was pretty fine beforehand. And my mother, she's older, but she was no health problems beforehand, and we still have these other problems long term. So when people don't take COVID seriously, I'm kind of just like, ugh. It just gives me like a little, like a sweat droplet rolls down my head, because there's nothing I can say to convince them the seriousness of it, because they've clearly been presented with enough facts and just decided to disregard them. So let's just end the video here. I'm not going to edit this, I don't think, unless I'm so boring when I rewatch it and I'm like, I'm going to cut everything out. Who knows if I'm even going to post this. But I just figured to post an update, because I forgot to even mention this. I've been working on this these documentaries of my grandparents, and I actually filmed one. I filmed a lot of it, and I edited one, and it's actually on my YouTube channel, but it's unlisted, because I'm still trying to play around with the sound, because I think some of the sound is uneven and it goes up and down. And I also recorded the brief beginning voiceover to the video at my grandparents, where I didn't have this microphone. I just recorded it from like these headphones, and it's not that great. But I don't know if I'm going to re-record it, because sometimes when I try to re-record stuff, it just ends up being worse than the original, because when you do it all cohesively together on the same day, it almost ends up turning out better than when you try to re-record it later and getting in the same like headspace and like the tone of voice and stuff. And now I realize my face looks like a tomato. I kind of want to like do a side by side of like my face now and what at the start of the video, to see how hot I got and how quickly, but then that would require editing, and I kind of want to upload this without any editing, like an old YouTube video, because I've been talking about this film so much lately. But I watched Inside by Bo Burnham, and that led me down like a rabbit hole of watching like all his like interviews, and he was saying how he like hates modern day YouTube, because it used to be like all like weird kids uploading their videos, and now like the top videos are all like talk show hosts and like movie stars, and they're not like kids from a small hometown making something creative, and that's going to be the viral video. Like that was when YouTube first started, but not anymore. So that kind of inspired me to make this like video diary that reminds me of One Direction. But okay, I'm just gonna stop talking because I can talk forever clearly. Bye.